Back to talk about Flemington Stakes Day tomorrow, and the rail stays in the 3 metre position, Gord.
Yep.
There was a lot of talk about outside barriers winning or dominating on Tuesday. How do you think the track played yesterday?
We're definitely going to, tomorrow, we're definitely going to be wanting to get to the outside. Yeah.
So wide draws, or certainly middle draws at least, to achieve that.
Yep.
The 2-year-old race is the maritime honoured Maribyrnong Plate, over 1,000 metres.
Skip it.
It's a no-bet race for Gord. By the sounds of it, the market is dominated by the top 2 and the bottom 1, which is unraced. James McDonald, John O'Shea, a likely type out of beaded, I should say, resin. And trialled at Wyong. You would have seen that trial, Gord?
Yeah. It was those few O'Shea horses that went up there and trialled quite well, and J Mac went up to ride them. Trialled away from home. Obviously there's some interest there, but you can't bet in the race because there's too many unknown quantities. And if you looked at the other race, what was it, on Tuesday?
But that was won by Gay. Surely she would have trialled her horse.
Yeah. But now you know.
Right.
It's just too much of a lottery.
Race 2 is over 2,000 metres, again holding plenty of interest for you. Hipparchus, down from Sydney, is the favourite, $4.50. Charlevoix is $6.50, $7.50 Kilmacurra down the bottom, $9 Curra, and $12 Little White Cloud, with the Melbourne Cup connections in evidence there.
How do we handle this Hickmont stable, you know? 1,225 days since its last run, so 3 years.
Okay, it can do something first up, and probably second up is the time to avoid it.
Look, it's lightly raced. It's obviously one that would have been reasonably expensive coming out of the biggish form races over in England as a 3-year-old, or Ireland.
Yep.
So obviously there's a question mark about it. It has to be some kind of a chance, because normally you'd pen a horse like that, but with that stable I think you can maybe not use a texter, use a pencil. The one I found on top was number 13, Curra. It's done nothing wrong in this preparation. If you notice, 2 starts back it beat the Chairman, which is since Frank the Form, and you're going from Walker to Oliver, and a lovely setup for the 2,000 metres, 16.16, now 2,000 metres, so at $9 I think that's got a bit of a chance. And the horse that I always had a little bit of ability as a stayer, thought had a little bit of ability, was this Hipparchus, and now in Sydney I think it should have won that last start. It's just very green, so I'm saying if its manners improve,
stand over man.
You know, it's got Hutchings to Bowman, seems to be very well found in the market, but it has to be able to have a chance. So,
yeah, look, it's a tricky business. Obviously, there's been a lot of focus on Sydney horses in Melbourne. Sydney stayers in Melbourne are, slightly problematic, because I would think that Melbourne has better breadth and depth in their staying ranks.
Yeah, so I'm 13 Curra, from 5 Hipparchus, with a question mark about Little White Cloud.
Is that like hippopotamus?
Hip. I got that one out. That's not too bad. Hipparchus. How would you say it?
Hipparchus.
Hipparchus. Yeah.
Maybe only one hip. Then we extend ourselves into the third, the Queen Elizabeth over 2,600. This was the breeding ground for Maccabi Diva. She won this race on to winning 3 cups.
Bigger and better things.
Yeah, that was her headliner. And then we had that. Who was that horse that won this race by huge space? 3-word name, was going to save the world, and
was it a grey horse?
Yeah.
Starts
with P.
And you know, after the win, it opened up as $5 favourite in the Melbourne
G-Boss
Cup.
rode it.
Yeah. I remember the one.
Yeah. Anyway, Tom Melbourne, the frustrating Tom Melbourne, is $2.60. $3.80 Francis of Assisi, who's a shipper that's had one local start. $6.50 De Little Engine, De Little Trier that it is, and $9 Venger Mask.
I've got number 1 on top, Francis of Assisi. You know, we stress all the time, these things second up, these foreign horses second up can improve dramatically, and let's face it did nothing wrong at Bendigo. I know it was at Bendigo, but it did smash the opposition by 3 lengths. It's a lightly raced thing. That stable is fine. Seems to be going all right in
it's
Melbourne.
It's a potent stable, isn't it?
You know, lightly raced, good win percentages, and I think it can go even better than the way it went winning the Bendigo Cup. So I clearly have Francis of Assisi on top.
What about William Buick?
Well, I mean, he's considered one of the world best. Let's wait and see. He can't do too much wrong in this race, can he?
Perhaps not. Perhaps not. Yeah. Venture Mask comes out of the Caulfield Cup, good.
I'm poo-pooing the Caulfield Cup form.
And
obviously, it's a superior and it's a stronger race, but I think it might be overplayed by the market a little bit.
And the favourite, Tom Melbourne.
Oh, I just sort of had enough of it. I mean, you know, look, it had that race 1 last start. You know? I think it turned it up a bit. You know, obviously it's a good chance. You know, but you know, particularly with the way the track's playing as well. Like,
so you're not expecting the track to favour that's had its more favoured conditions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping Francis of Assisi sits. You know, I know it's barrier 5, but can it get to the 1 out, 1 back, or can it just sit outside Tom Melbourne and then maybe get a bit wider?
Track Tom Melbourne.
Yeah,
track Tom Melbourne. That's look, it's a small field, small enough field. There should be no issues. Race 4 is one of our favourite races. It's the 3-year-old Hilton Stakes because there's always, in fact, they even come from Brisbane sometimes to run in this race. Nicolance down from Sydney is $3.80 in favourite, and then it's out to Verstappen. $7, $11 Man from Uncle, the other Sydney horse, $12 Souchet, we call him a Sydney horse, $12 Salon, 15 Enigman, 16 Tessera, 16 Valiano, 17 Crafted, 19 Palladian, 16 Damn Ready. So the favourite is pronounced.
Yep, and should be.
And well, of course he's a leader up in grade. I mean, if we call it up in grade.
This isn't up in grade. It beat Coming Through last start.
It did beat Coming Through, but Coming Through is a horse that was disadvantaged by the setup last time. And
still beat it by 1.8 lengths. It's proved itself that it can run out 1,400 metres now, which would have been the only other question.
Yeah, it did go 11 to 14 there.
Freshen up trial. The trial was magnificent. And you're going from Kobe Gin into the Blake Shin. It's got a wide barrier.
Betting up?
Looks absolutely lovely. I think the only danger is number 12, which a few viewers of the show have recommended was their horse to follow, and I do believe it might be a horse with some upside.
We went 1,000 to 14.
And you're going Bobby Alyssa to Damien Oliver.
Right, so that's a negative?
No, it's positive. What would you say Bobby Alyssa to Damien Oliver if the race was in Sydney?
That's enough good. Verstappen is a horse that the stable have a very high opinion of.
Yeah. Won at Cranbourne. Look, this Nicolance form is absolutely brilliant. It's flying this preparation. That stable is just killing it down in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Shin is riding well down there. I can't see a negative about it.
It's hard to fault in many ways. Race 5 is over the mile. Looks like a Commodore Garden race. $6 Maybeel, $7 Lucky Paddy, $9 Last Bullet, $10 Carlo Bugatti, $10 Boom Time. Anything here?
I've got number 2, Mobile on top. Comes out of that Voodoo Lab
race. You found
race.
that stable? I see that. Is that the second horse you found from that stable?
I don't know the stables down in Melbourne well enough to make that a consideration in my decision-making process. So I'm just pretty much going off form with the Melbourne ones. I take that more into consideration with the fact that I know the Sydney trainers better.
Sure.
This has run in some of the top stuff over in New Zealand. It's had its one start in Australia, which was in a higher standard race. It was a little bit sort of ungenerous, so I think there might be some upside in its second start in Melbourne. 2 starts for 2 seconds, Dwayne Dunn on board, barrier 11, so it's going to keep itself out of trouble. I think it's a good chance. I've got question marks about some of the form of the other horses. And yet again, I found another horse as a bit of a question mark here, which is Carlo Bugatti, which is Hickmont, Karen McAvoy. It's had the 588 days off, but it is its second prep in Australia, so normally they can springboard off that.
Yeah, good old Mount Macedon. And apparently Robert Hickmott was sighted on Tuesday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did somebody take a photo?
The unknown man. He was there. Okay, so the Matriarch Stakes is generally a bit of a consolation for the Nestle, which is on the week before, so we're looking at Den Magic getting to 2,000 metres, which I can't say seemed obvious from her earlier days, and she is second favourite. Lady Lefay is $5.50. Den Magic is $7. $9 Sought After, $9 Happy Hannah, $9.50 Zanbar, $10 Real Love. It's not a bad collection, Gord.
It's actually a fairly competitive race, isn't it? With a few different sort of angles to get your teeth into. I know the question mark's about 2,000 metres, but I had to find number 8 Den Magic on top. It's sort of done nothing wrong this preparation, hasn't it? Like, it's one of those ones where are we getting sick of it, or is this the right setup
it's sort of
now?
like,
you know,
it never really had full opportunity. It just got a tick every time, didn't it? They weren't races that it had to win.
yeah. It seems sort of well placed here, doesn't it? You know?
Yeah, it's 2,000 that's doing my head in with it, and I'm not saying I'm not saying 2,000 is no good, but it wasn't on my radar.
Okay, well, if it's ever going to... This is the right setup for it, but it's fifth start, 12, 14, 14, 16, now 2,000. That seems right. It's T-Berry to J-Mac, which is a positive jockey change, and it's done nothing wrong in this preparation against some decent horses. Other than that, look, I mean, Sought After, I mean, I know it got favours, but it was dominant, wasn't it?
It whipped them.
And this stable's flying.
Yeah, completely flying. This horse will give a great sight. What about Happy Hannah, who is itching to?
There's a few sort of like spruikers out there for this horse because did last preparation over 2,000 metres, came third in the Vinery Stud. You got the right connections down there. It's just not one of my horses. It's a low percentage play.
Yeah, she's a how do we say it? Well, she's a blouser for starters, so she always looks exciting, looks good. Appeared to have too much ground to make up the other day, but it was more of a case. Look, if she was where More to Gain was, she wins the race. It's one of those situations where she needs things to go right for her, and she's probably always going to be under her true betting mark.
The one at odds there that I'll have a little bit of a play on is number 12, Alaskan Rose. It was strong late over 1,600 metres, and I think it's a blouse's chance.
Okay.
And I just like Maroney and Maloney. Rolls off the tongue.
Look, I think that's a bit of an awkward race because we've got no real 2,000 metre form. We've got sort of mile form. We've got 2,500 metre form, and it doesn't mix very well. The Emirates, whatever it is, the McKinnon, now called the Emirates, over 2,000 metres, and the United States, third week in a row, $4.40. The Damos off the Cox Plate is $4.60. Scottish is $5.50, and it's well into double figures. The others, Haraki, Palantino, Good Standing, all $13. Endless Drama, $14. The United States, this is his target race, isn't it?
And I actually think it's a perfect setup. When a horse doesn't get a crack at them till late, it's a great setup for its next start. Well, that's exactly what happened last start. I think this is the best horse in the race. You've got Arnold to Karen McAvoy, positive jockey change. Quality horse. I think it'll be winning this race. It's just a little bit of a question mark about number 5, Vadamos, which obviously as soon as you see that Winks and Hartnell form is even with the significant margins involved.
Oh yeah, it helped Yankee Rose.
Yeah, yeah. And it's second up in Australia, could be quite strong up the front there. Zara to Oliver. So I'm going to be backing the United States, but I hope I find a way to get something at decent odds on Vadamos to at least crunch out of the race. What do you reckon?
I'm very much in the United States corner. Haraki has had his run over 2,000 in the Cox Plate, like the others, and had the 3 weeks off, had the mile up to 2,000 on that occasion, and gets James McDonald tomorrow. I think he's overpriced.
Yeah, just I did an automatic pen there, obviously, you know, late in the preparation with John O'Shea just doesn't seem to be the go, but I admit that all the points you make have merit.
Okay, well that is the main event, or it's one of the two main events. The other one is the Darley Classic, over 1,200 metres, and it was looking like a red hot race a month or so ago, and now it's looking like a second raters race.
Yeah.
$5 Our Boy Malachi, $7 Fell Swoop, $7 the Quarterback, who'd have thunk it 6 months ago, or just before his Newmarket win, $7.50 Lankan Rupee, $9 Malagira, $10 Spieth, 14 Scheidel, 15 English. And what are which line are we taking here?
Well, I'm taking the line where I was hard on the horses that got beaten by Rebel Day, which
yeah, you're saying that's a black mark against them.
Yes. So I ended up finding number 7 Malaguera on top. Second up this prep, probably aimed at this race. Second to star turn, there's nothing wrong with that. Finished in front of Fell Swoop. And is it decent odds? You'd say $9 or something like that. Second up stats are good, loves the distance, love the track, which we know is so important in these straight races at Flemington. And then just on suspicion that it's a good horse, Mark, which one is it?
The good horse.
The good horse.
Oh, Spieth, yeah,
Spieth. Which has obviously done nothing wrong, but this is significantly up in grade. If you notice, Kaepernick came out yesterday and spanked the sprint race in where did it run, Kaepernick, when it won?
On Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
Yeah. He won the 1100 down at Randwick.
Yeah, spanked him. So that sort of half ranks the form, because I thought Spieth's run was far superior to Kaepernick's in that race. So this horse has got some upside. J Ford to Brad Wheeler, not sure. Second up, 2 starts for 2 wins. Anyway, Spieth is about suspicion of it being a very good horse.
It's certainly a very promising horse. I mean, Fell Swoop has earned his stripes here, hasn't he? I mean, he's third up into this race. Did some work. Has done some work on both occasions. I mean, there's a tapestry around several of these horses. I mean, I was taken by Our Boy Malachi, thinking that finally he's now an off pacer. He's
But see, this is with Our Boy Malachi. If they decide to ride him off pace, okay, which he was dynamic last start, is he going to jump really well and get necked?
He never jumps. He doesn't jump.
Yeah.
I think so. I think that could be the key to him. Having said that, you know, restrained off the pace in a 1,000-metre race is a very different story. But he is my first point of interest, and certainly Fell Swoop is, as I say, is deserved there. And that brings us to
The nightcap.
ta-da!
Woohoo!
1,400.
Thanks for the charity.
Yeah, 1,400 metres. And Demonstrate, backing up off his win on Tuesday, is $3. $6 Ullman, $8 Santa Ana Lane, $11 Lord Aspen, $15 Lucky Liberty and Akavuron. Now, you would have seen Demonstrate closely on Tuesday, Gord. I got the sense that, you know, he was a bit out of gas.
I get the sense that this horse isn't proven at all to go up a price like that. What's he beaten?
Well, obviously, high quality opposition.
Yes. So I went looking for something else. I've got him, you know, he's my second selection. But I just can't get over that price. You're actually going from J-Mac to Avdallah as well, which, you know, I mean, obviously we've got a high opinion of Avdallah.
Brenton's mother is sure that he's a better rider than James.
Yes, yeah. But you know, the winning combination last two starts has been J Mac and Demonstrate, and just go to Abdullah. So even if you're saying $1 is a gun, it's still changing the winning combination, if you like.
Certainly.
The one that I found, and actually I'm quite keen on at the odds, except for the fact that it's drawn that dastardly barrier 1, and that's Ullman. It's 1 over 1400 at the track, 2 starts back, beat Akavurin and Federal, went up to the 1600 metres, and only got beat 1.3 lengths by the United States. That is far superior form for this race.
Look, if barrier 1 is dastardly in the last race, it'll be
Moses and the Red Sea.
Well, barrier 1's only dastardly if people don't realise it's dastardly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
if it's well regarded.
Can I ask you guys a favour? My friend has my phone in that unit, but she didn't tell me what number to buzz.
Yeah, you want to ring her?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
There
So
you
just
go. Watch that.
Yeah, I know. It's like you'll get splinters off this phone. Yeah, I want to see. All right. What's the number?
040.
I don't know. Yeah, so Ullman for me on top from Demonstrate.
Oh my god, you're filming.
And
Yeah, you're on
right,
camera.
You're right. Come and say hello on camera. You can be our guest. There you go.
I thought you guys were feeling that way.
You better not say the number out loud because then they're on the show.
It's all right. Raphael's been on to broadcast his number far and wide.
Yeah, so Ullman from Demonstrate for me, and I'm quite keen.
Yeah, very good, Gord. That's the look, the cursory look at Melbourne tomorrow. Don't forget that Mixed Melbourne Mail will be firing on all cylinders tomorrow because it's the end of the carnival. It's the denouement.
And Nick Lentz has to be both our bets of the day down in Melbourne, isn't it, Mark?
I'm not making it my bet of the day. I'll leave that one to you, Gord.
Okay.
Okay,
Good luck, guys.
Oh, you're a legend. Sorry to interrupt.